Hey, so we're here in the studio here at KSQD, Santa Cruz, 90.7 FM, streaming to you over the web at ksqd.org, and we have Toby Gray with us.
Top of the day, Andy. Thanks for having me in here.
Hey, Toby, good to see you, buddy.
Good seeing you. What a beautiful place you guys have here. I'm blown away.
Yeah, it's worked out really well. Yeah, it's a lot of sweat equity by an amazing number of volunteers that have helped put this thing together.
I remember as you guys have been putting it together and following it on the web. And good job, folks. So
yeah, and like I said, a lot of great volunteers, great visionaries here, and what I'm really blown away on is the great programming.
A lot of variety.
Yeah, and let's see, we got a note here from Carl.
Winner.
Leanne has won the tickets for the Turbans at Michael's on Main. Thank you, Leanne. Appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the show. And back with Toby. Hey, so Toby, where'd you grow up?
I was born in Ohio, raised largely in the Midwest, Ohio, and then went to college in Indianapolis, and then headed west in the early 70s.
So did you get to Did the music bug get you back there, or did you wait till you get to Santa Cruz?
I was early on. I was fortunate. My mother was a piano major, voice major in college.
Oh, wow.
I grew up with my grandparents, and they were kind of collectors. They ran auctions, and so I had mandolins and a violin and a lot of a piano, grand piano, sitting in the house. So
wow.
Always had instruments and started playing. Back there in the fourth grade, they started you on flutophone. And I just dove into it. Had a really good public education with music, and some wonderful directors back there.
Was there any one particular song that you remember from way back when that just kind of set you off?
Oh boy! Well, my grandmother and I, when we were doing chores, we used to sing out in the barn, and the Old Gray Mare, is probably the most deeply embedded tune in my head,
I hear you. It's funny because I know that there were other songs that are important to me, but one song that always kind of sticks out in my mind was Kingston Trio, "Hang Down Your Head, Tom Doolin," only because I got caught stealing money out of my grandmother's bingo purse to buy the record.
Uh-oh.
And I got put on probation over the phone, by a cop.
Yeah, it's funny how those associations tend to stick.
That's great. So basically, you were playing quite a number of different instruments.
I was playing around with things. The trumpet was my first instrument in public school, and then got into I was really into the Beach Boys. I loved the Beach Boys, and got into playing guitar. And I traded my bicycle for a guitar so I could have something to play. And then in junior high, the best players in the neighborhood needed a bass player, and so I found I could elevate myself rather quickly in the business by taking up the bass and playing with them, and just kept at it. It was early on. It was just kind of a strategy of how do you get yourself up in the business a bit, and just keep going. I was possessed basically. I was going to make it one way or another.
That's great. Yeah. So, hey, so we're going to do a couple of songs today.
Cool.
Right?
Yes.
And, all these times, this is my 18th show here on the radio station, and I've been playing everything from my iPad. So this will be my first time playing something from a CD. So
okay.
I got your CDs, and we'll give a whirl at see if I know what the hell I'm doing here.
I've got my guitar in case we have equipment failure.
Yeah. Wait. I forget this thing starts as soon as you press the button here. What song is this?
This is called Love at First Sight, and this is the Roadhogs.
Let's give it a listen.
I see my baby, yeah, starts over again. I fall into the I'm falling for you. Come on, you sexy thing. Yeah, got my eyes on you, girl. And she likes to dance. She loves romance. Yeah, we'll have a real good time. Love at first sight. Yeah, come on, baby. Comes walking in here with some of her friends. Yeah, turns every head around. Yeah, she's looking good. Oh, it's understood. Yeah, she moves me around. I said time after time, yeah, she catches my eye, baby. Yeah, I'm falling for you. I said she likes to dance. She loves romance. We'll have a real good time. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, come on. Come on, girl. Get down. Get down now. Come on. Yeah. I see my lover, yeah, starts all over again. I fall into the beautiful eyes, baby. Yeah, I'm falling for you. Come on, you sexy thing. I got my eyes on you, girl. I said she likes to dance. She really loves romance. We'll have a real good time. Yow, 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 yow. Come on, baby, get down. Come on, get down, get down, get down.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Who was singing there?
Okay, well that was my tune, and I was singing the lead on that, and then the Roadhogs, Alan Haidt, Michael Johnson, Gary Thomas, singing backups.
Oh, Alan Haidt.
That was down live at Moe's, probably at least 10 years ago, and that was one of our ballads. No.
All right. I've been trying to get to play with Alan every now and again, but I haven't been successful yet.
He's a sweetheart.
Oh yeah, I love that guy.
Good fellow,
And a great dentist too.
yes, he's largely retired. His daughter's taken over, and
I know she's fantastic. Oh, I tell you, she's done a great job bringing technology into the shop.
I've known her since she was a wee one. So
right.
Yeah, Alan was one of the original Roadhogs, going back to probably about 1990 or so, and yeah. In fact, we just did a show down at the Toowoomba with for the John Prine.
I remember
thing.
that. Yeah,
and that was fun. It was fun to get to work with him again. So
yeah, I wanted to be part of that show. There was no room for me, I guess.
it was. That's the thing with this town. There's no shortage of musicians, and I was just lucky to get called to back him up playing some bass. So.
Hey, so on that last cut that we just heard, were you also playing bass?
Yes. Yeah, I wrote that. I have a series of tunes that I call the cement boat tunes when I first moved here full time in the mid '80s. I lived down there by the cement boat in Aptos, and we would go out there, and I would go out there with my guitar because it was foggy half the time. But if you wanted to get out of this little dank chicken shack we lived in, you'd go out to the boat and try to get some sun and do some fishing or watch people go fishing. And it was a great place to write music. And I wrote about a dozen tunes out there and still do a few of them, but that was one of them. Love at First Sight.
That's cool. And so tell me about the Roadhog. I mean, I know I've seen them, but what years did they run from?
We started, I'm going to say, it was slightly after the earthquake, so about 1990. And Bill Malkovich and Greg Coben and myself and Michael Daugherty were playing, and we play over at Callahan's, the old biker bar there. And that's where we got started, and we just kept playing. Bill pushed the band a lot. He got us into the Catalyst and the Crow's Nest and Seabright Brewery. And then he took off for other things, and the band just kept going, and it grew. And we always pushed vocals. Harmonies was our big push. We always had at least 5 people who could sing lead in that band. And we had a great heyday. You know, it was opened up for Blue Oyster Cult and some big, nice shows at the Catalyst back in the day when that was going on. And, back when the Seabright Brewery was a roaring, ripping place, and Crow's Nest, headlined the Crow's Nest a lot for New Year's and Severinos and good stuff.
That was my first job at the Crow's Nest here in Santa Cruz in 1971.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was one of their ace dishwashers.
Aha. Yeah.
With Mayor Dodd and Diane and all those folks back then.
It's iconic place. It's and it lives on, which is amazing.
I know. Hey, so A Beautiful Day. I mean, that's a classic band. I mean, that's a Whitebird. That's a classic tune.
It is.
I mean, you were there in the heat, right in the middle of all of the 60s, early 70s stuff, what was going on here in the Bay Area.
Well, they were. I joined them in 1980.
Oh, okay.
So it was a little past their heyday. Not much in the big picture. That says 38 years, but yes, they were there. They were kind of considered the second wave of the Summer of Love bands. Them and Santana, because you had Quicksilver and the Airplane and Big Brother were the first wave, and they're the ones that were just on magazines and everything, and then mostly through Bill Graham promoting the up-and-coming bands, which is A Beautiful Day was, and iconic album. I had that in high school and learned every tune, and then years later when I'd worked for Dick Clark for a while in the 70s and traveled, and I ended up in the Bay Area kind of looking for something else to do, and I was cold calling people, and a handful of dimes on a payphone, if you remember those things. And the first guy that actually picked up a phone said, well, the Flames are looking for a bass player, and hooked me up, and I've been, that was 38 years ago, and still doing it.
And David and Linda still part of the group?
Oh, yeah. David just turned 78.
78.
We just had his birthday party over at the Fox over in the Redwood City. And, Linda's, it's his wife, his third wife, not his first wife. But, and then we still have the original drummer, Val Fuentes, is with us. So it's fun, and the band, I mean, we've had around year 2000, I got Gary Thomas into the band, and so the core element has been tight. It's fun.
So I would imagine at this stage nobody's jumping off of speakers anymore, huh?
No. There was a time. I used to jump on pianos, but no.
Hey, so this next song, Living Life Without Loving You?
Yes.
And you wrote this one?
Yes, I did. That's another cement boat tune.
All right.
And this is also the Roadhogs in the studio doing this.
Hey, so let's give this one a listen and see if I can get the CD player to work right.
Yeah, you got it.
Wow.
Sweet.
Kudos to Sandy Stone here for setting this technology up so well. Here we go.
You know my baby's a sweet loving thing. Yeah, she's so fine. Hot little engine, a good firm ride. You know what I mean, yeah. Living life without loving you. Yeah, I just can't imagine living life without loving you. You look so fine in that leather skirt. The way you walk makes my eyes kind of hurt. Wake me in the morning, sweet love and smile. Hold you close, we make love for a while. Living life without loving you. Yeah, I just can't imagine living life without loving you. My baby, she's a sweet loving thing. Yeah, she's so fine. Long sexy legs, a walk that sways, makes my heart beat kind of fast. Living life without loving you. Yeah, I just can't do it. Living life without loving you. Yeah, I said I just can't imagine living life without loving you.
There we go.
All right. So what about that song there?
Living Life Without Loving You. And that was also a Cement Boat tune, written in the 80s. And that was done in Gary Thomas's studio. And then Go for Gold mixed and mastered that for us. Mellow tune. I still play that thing. It's just one of those tunes that kind of stay with me. You know, it's I've got probably 60 original tunes, out of which of those 15 of them I still play. You know,
So, name some of the places you've been playing lately.
Oh God, last place been playing started playing the barbecue places with my alter ego T-Bone Mojo, and I was down at Carmel. Crossroads Barbecue, played there, and then the Mission Barbecue the week before that. I've got a weekly gig at the Reef Pono, of which the second Wednesdays we're promoting a ukulele party. And let's see here, I had this set up. This coming Saturday, we're going to be down, we've got a party going on down at the Crystal Bay Farms down on 40 Zills Road. That's a blast. These people are organic farmers, and it's going to be the Poor Carters and Alan Sitar Brown and Lance Little and myself, and we're playing out in the garden. So it's a free event. Come on down.
And that's your T-Bone act?
No, that'll be myself. I'll be doing that as Toby Gray, Highway Buddha.
So Highway Buddha, how'd you come up with that?
You know, for years of being in a band called the Roadhogs, you know, we didn't get a lot. We did a few weddings, you know, but it wasn't the most friendliest of names. And so I wanted, years ago, about probably 10, 12 years ago, I started a side project. And I wanted something that was a little more Santa Cruz politically correct. And so I settled on Highway Buddha. And because I do some holistic things too. I'll do some drum circles and some recordings, you know, hot tub music kind of stuff with chimes and bells and very, very, very mellow. You know, if you go out to my website, highwaybuddha.com, you'll see samples of some of this stuff. And
what is your website?
highwaybuddha.com.
Okay.
Thank you. And in fact, I just registered tbonemojo.com so I can kind of separate those things. I'm trying to keep them as separate entities, but I'm driving the bus on both of them. So,
Well, when you do T-Bone, do you sing in a different voice, like, yeah, baby, this is a T-Bone one?
I lend myself to a little bit more of that. You asked me where I'm playing. I do a lot of wineries and restaurants and stuff, so that's very mellow kind of background. But the blues thing, I get to step forward a bit more and do some of the classics, some like the Robert Johnson. And to me, the blues is everything from Janis Joplin to, some the English bands, Cream, and, who translated some of the Willie Dixon tunes and stuff. And so, I get to step forward a little bit more, be a little more aggressive with
Disraeli gears?
Yeah, I have been doing. I'm drawing a blank here. I'm so glad.
Oh, I'm so glad. That's great. Yeah.
I heard one of the barbecue guys do a slide version of that. I'm going, wow. So that falls in there. So
I really like the lyrics on that one. I mean, you really have to really stretch to remember the lyrics on that one. Anybody looking at their iPad or their 3-ring bindo while they're singing that song, you have to wonder.
It fits on one page nicely. So,
index card.
Yeah, but I've been having fun with the blues thing because the audience is a little peppier. They listen. They're easier to engage. With the wineries, and I love the wineries. It's a beautiful place, but those folks are normally just drinking wine and talking, and more of a background kind of thing. So it's all fun.
Hey, so we got time for another song, so we're going to do Round and Round, huh?
Yes. In fact, there's kind of an intro on this anyway, a vocal intro that'll tell you what the song's about. So,
okay, well, let's give it a listen.
Thanks. Living in Santa Cruz, you have to have a green tune because, we are an environmentally responsible lot. We care, and we try to change the world in however we can. Well, they say there's a storm a-coming. Can't you see the beauty in the wind? Won't you please keep the air clean? Yeah, keep it clean for you and me. Round and round the earth goes, round and round, round and round. Oh, the earth goes. Where she stops, nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Won't you learn to love one another? Won't you learn to free the inner child? Won't you please keep the land pure, yeah? Keep it clean for you and me. And I said, round and round the earth goes, round and round, round and round, oh, the earth goes. Where she stops, nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Round and round the earth goes, round and round, round and round, oh, the earth goes. Where she stops, nobody knows. Actually, I don't think the Earth is going to stop. I think she's going to kick us off at some point. Kind of like the dinosaurs. Poof, gone. The people that built the pyramids and all those other odd things we can't figure out. Poof, they're gone. Oh, won't you please make a change? Make a change for all to come. Won't you please keep the water pure? Keep it clean for you and me. Round and round the earth goes. Round and round, round and round, oh, the earth goes. Round and round, 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 round and round. Oh, nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Well, where was that recorded?
That was up at the old Don Quixote's, which is now the Felton Music Hall.
Yeah, or the listening room or something like that, right?
Pardon?
Is it the listening room or is it called the music hall now? What's it called? It has a new name.
Music Hall. Music Hall. Yeah, and I think I'm pretty optimistic that they're going to do well. He's I forget the fellow's name, Thomas somebody, but he's got a room in Berkeley. He's got one down in I believe Santa Barbara, and knows the business. He worked with Gary Ty a little bit, and he knows the turf.
Yeah, I read the article about him just recently.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I'm hoping good things out of that. Hey, also, I read something last week on events that somebody was playing at Club Zayani. I'm going, Club Zayani?
I saw that too. Is a singer-songwriter kind of thing. I'm kind of curious what that's about.
Yeah, I need to check into that.
Yeah, I Googled it, looked at it on the maps. It really didn't show me anything. Yeah. But I'm curious how that goes. That would be fun to see that place.
Great to be back in Club Z. Hey, well, Toby, we're just about out of time, so I'd like to thank you for coming on in. Thank you for coming on in. Had a great time.
God bless you, Andy. Thank you so much for supporting local music.
Oh, my pleasure, man.
And we'll see you out there. We'll do some jamming.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, you know where you can always stop by on Sundays, come and sit in on a couple of songs, and yes. We always have a good time together.
Indeed, we do.
Yeah,
indeed, we do.
Hey, thanks, Toby.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm gonna take care of a little bit of business here with our buddies from Triad Electric.